Okay, so in today's video, I want to tackle a question I get a lot in my comment section, probably in bad faith most of the time. But that question is, are you a racist fan? The answer is probably yes. If you have to ask if you are a racist fan of something, chances are yes, but you might not even be a fan. But the racist part, probably. So what I want to do in this video is go over some statements about, we'll use Ironheart and maybe a couple other examples as we go through this, so I can show you the difference, the nuance between what it means to say and do racist things about movies and TV shows versus when it's not that. And then I also want to tell you guys what the difference is in you holding your own personal opinion versus what people are doing here on YouTube, like Nerdrotic, Geeks and Gamers, Critical Drinker, Heel vs. Babyface, all these channels. So let's start out with an example of something that we'll put it up here and then you tell me if you think it's a racist statement or not. The highlighted text will probably give it away, but let's read this statement and then I want you to think about this. Is this a racist statement? I don't like Ironheart because I prefer the older MCU projects from earlier phases. Do you think that is a racist statement? If you said it is not a racist statement, you would be correct. This is not. This is simply having a preference for something else other than the Ironheart show. And you don't need to go into detail about all of the little things you don't like about it. Simply saying this itself, this statement, covers everything you need to know. Somebody asks you, hey, do you like Ironheart? No, it's not my thing. I prefer like the older phases. And then you could give examples of things you do like from the older phases without ever diving into some of the more radicalized conversations around Riri Williams as Ironheart. Let's do another question and pay attention to the highlighter. All right, so this is in red highlighter, so you probably know where I'm going with this. I don't think Ironheart is going to be good because she is just a race swap black girl version of Tony Stark. Is this statement racist in any way whatsoever? I want you to think about it, give you a couple seconds. And yeah, the answer is yes. Yeah, this is a racist statement, 100%. Because the only reason you don't like it is because you think this black character doesn't deserve to be in the show. You're trying to compare her to Tony Stark. You're saying she's a race swap Tony Stark. And these are all comments that I've seen. So these are examples of comments that I have seen on the internet. So someone actually typed this and I was like, yeah, this is definitely a racist comment. And you might say, well, no, it's not racist at all. It is. This is absolutely a racist comment. This is very different from the one that I showed before, which is basically saying it's just not your vibe. You prefer older projects. You can give examples of older projects. If you're saying you don't like the show because there's a black girl in it and you think that that black girl is a race swap version of Tony Stark or Iron Man, you can interchange those two things, then yeah, this is a racist statement. Okay, so let's dive into a little bit of nuance here so I can make it a little bit clearer for everybody out there. If you dislike something simply because at any point in time, a black person is doing anything in the show, whether it be existing in the background, they're a lead character, they're a superhero, they're smarter than a white person, if that is your sole reason or your biggest reason, your major reason for disliking a movie or a TV show, fam, that is 100% racist. It just, like, is racism in the room right now? Yes. If that is your sole reason for disliking something, if that is your go-to reason, like, there's a black person in it, and I'm going to make fun of them for being black at every step of the way, which we see that a lot with these channels, and we're going to get to them in a second, then yes, that is racist behavior. Okay, so it's in green, you know what that means. Disliking something because the story isn't good, in your honest opinion, and you aren't just into the vibe of the movie or the TV show regardless of race. So you're not out here getting mad claiming DEI, identity politics, virtue signaling, all of these things that you hear as excuses for why black people are in something, black women are in something. If none of that is factoring in to your reason for not liking said thing, you're not racist. It's simply not your thing. Like, if you were to tell me I didn't watch Ironheart because I didn't like the vibe of it, it's just not something that I would watch, you don't have to tell me anything else. I don't need to know anything else. Okay, cool, great. You don't like it. You didn't like the story? Great. You prefer Iron Man because Iron Man was your favorite character from comics? Great, wonderful. You don't like Ironheart because you didn't like her in the comics? Great, wonderful. None of those things are racist. So it's a very big difference from the example that I just gave prior to this statement. Very big difference. Okay, so those are two examples. Now, let me explain why it is different for you to hold your own personal opinion, whether it's racist or not, and people that have large platforms on YouTube. Pay attention to the text. Now, here's something that's always a bit on shaky ground for me, because trying to explain it, it sounds icky, but it is important to understand the difference between this kind of behavior and outwardly racist behavior. Or in my case, it would be something I would experience like homophobia, or a woman would experience like sexism, misogyny. Those things would be outwardly expressed. Now, this is something that we're dealing with in today's world. People who are doing and saying racist things are way more emboldened now than they've ever been. But let's look at this. Your own personal opinion about something that you hold privately doesn't affect actors, writers, or other people in the community. Racist or not, it wouldn't be a factor because you wouldn't express it openly. So if you want to be racist as fuck in your own house and say and do things that you know for a fact would be massively offensive to do in public and to other people, there's really nothing I can do about it or anyone else can do about it. You can be that person in private all you want, and there's nothing we can do about it. However, it is very different when you're someone with a larger channel, which brings me to this point. And here is the big difference. Large content creators hold a social power and can drive engagement with outrage and racist behavior. Their irresponsibility creates hate mobs that then go on to attack actors, writers, and creators for various projects. They aren't holding a personal opinion. They're using their soapbox to spread outrage. It is dangerous. We've seen it happen time and time again. Rachel Zegler, Brie Larson, just to name a couple of them. There's plenty of other examples. But this is something that they have done over time. They've made this, their platform is not just them holding a personal opinion. They have entire movements dedicated to doing this kind of stuff. I don't know why I left this in green. This should be red. Let me change it. There we go. That's better. This is not good. This is bad because this actually affects people. If Gary from Nerdrotic wanted to make fun of taco eating people or talk about, all kinds of racist stuff with his friends, there's really not a lot I could do about it. You could do about it. Anybody could do about it. He's doing it with a circle of his friends who also are pieces of shit. And really, there's nothing that can be done. However, these are people with large platforms that drive a lot of social engagement. Even though it's deteriorating a little bit, they still have a little bit of sway on that. So what I'm getting to here is if you feel like something you're doing is questionably racist and you're not being dishonest, you're not in bad faith, any of those things, chances are you should probably think about the reason you dislike something. And this can apply to everything. It can apply to homophobia. It can apply to sexism, all the isms and all the phobes, right? It can apply to all those things. There are ways you can do things and dislike things that are not racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, etc., etc., etc. But you just need a little bit of use your brain power for it. These guys are not the same as us. They have extremely, extremely large platforms. They have extremely large groups of people that follow them around and listen to everything they say like it's the truth, like it's honest, like it's the gospel. I know this because they're in my comment section every day. Every single day, they're in my comment section. They can do no wrong. Even if I point out 100% facts and source links and everything, the people that believe these guys do not listen to that. They're feelings over facts. It's about a vibe to them. It's not about any kind of logic or reality. It is a vibe for them. And these guys know that. Now, the power is shifting. They're losing some of that power. But there's a difference between someone who has millions of subscribers on YouTube and someone that's just out here giving their own personal opinion about something. There's a level of responsibility that you inherit when you start to get larger platforms. It just happens. They would argue that a lot of times celebrities saying and doing things affects the public in a negative way, whether it be kids or whatever, because they're acknowledging that a certain level of responsibility comes with visibility. They walk hand in hand. It just is. This is why influencers are so bad for society when it comes to bad behavior. These guys know that, and they still do it. So no, it's not the same thing. So ask yourself these questions. If this is why you don't like something and you are questioning whether or not it's racist, those things would make it racist. If you simply don't like it because you don't like it, that's not a racist thing. And stop saying people are calling me that because I dislike something. No, if you have said something, you say I don't dislike Ironheart, I would not immediately call you a racist. I wouldn't say that, or a sexist. I don't think anybody with half a brain wouldn't do that. You have to be doing and saying something else for them to call you that, for them to even reach that conclusion. Like, I didn't like Secret Invasion. What conclusion do you jump to with that one? I can give a million reasons why, and none of it has to do with any of the social stuff that goes on within that series. These guys peddle that. If you're not doing that, and you're doing it with the privacy of your own home, be racist by yourself. Don't bring it on the internet.